Well, let's talk about Christian Gonzalez first. And I don't think that at any one point here that they've been close to a deal. And Devin Witherspoon and Christian Gonzalez have the same agent. So in a way, he can kind of dictate how this is going to go and see into the future in a better way than each of the two teams can. So Witherspoon was going to get done first, and it got done at an average of 33 a year. The Patriots have not been in that category, but Witherspoon has established the benchmark, and the Patriots haven't gone there. And they weren't there before, and they don't appear to be going there right now.
This is just stressing me out with this Christian Gonzalez stuff as we welcome you back inside Boston's Enter the Chat here inside our Salem 5 studios. I have got to talk to our guy, Alex Barth, about this because, for the life of me, the market dictates what the guy deserves to get paid. Why are the Patriots playing cheap, Alex Barth? What are we doing? This guy, Christian Gonzalez, is talking the other day, and he has to wait. He can't even answer questions, Alex, because there's a chopper over the head, and it's Robert Kraft up in the sky, landing practically on the practice field. You have money falling out of your pockets, but you can't break off Christian Gonzalez. Alex Barth, will this get done at all?
I still think something will get done, but it has not been an encouraging 48 hours between Gonzalez and Elliott Wolf speaking the other day and the report from Adam Schefter today. Like you mentioned, the market dictates what he's worth. And, all summer when people were asking, well, what are they waiting for? What are they waiting for? You got to remember it behooved Gonzalez to be the second one to sign. He was in no rush. That's why if you're the Patriots, you maybe show some urgency in that period because they're not essentially, maybe forced is the wrong word, but they don't have this Witherspoon contract hanging over things as a benchmark if Gonzalez gets signed first. That's also why if you're Gonzalez, you wait. So the market is what the market is at this point. If they deem that he's not worth that, it's up to them. They don't have to pay him. I would just question that evaluation. I think he is the best or second best cornerback in the league. I think he is a better player, a more valuable player to his team than Devin Witherspoon is. And that would line up with the kind of contract that would, and look, there's obviously got to be a point where you say, no, that record is now north of, I believe, $33 million a year. If he's looking for 40, okay, that's not realistic, but we haven't really heard a ton that Gonzalez is asking for too much. And I would think his agent would kind of temper his expectations at that point. So this is the price of doing business for this move if you're the Patriots. It's just a matter of do they value him at that number?
Do you think they value him at that number, Barth? Is there a reason why this is not done? Do you think the Patriots do not feel the way about Christian Gonzalez that a lot of us feel?
I guess clearly the answer would be they don't feel that way because otherwise it would be done. Right now, can they get to the point where they feel that way? Maybe, you don't close the book on it at this point, but if they felt he was worth a slight uptick from the Witherspoon contract, then you figure they'd offer that, and Gonzalez either take it or we find out he's being unreasonable or what have you. But clearly, like based on what Schefter said there, they were never in the ballpark, and I understand why they wouldn't have started on a number above what Witherspoon ultimately got, because Witherspoon's increase from the previous record was a little more than significant than expected. So I understand why they wouldn't have started at the number where it's probably going to need to come into now. But again, the market dictates what it dictates. So this is now the number. If you value that player, this is what the league has determined that player is worth.
Alex, I thought that maybe tonight they would have signed the deal and announced it on Amazon TV. That was my take.
Would have been great, Joe.
So it doesn't mean it's over yet, but it means I swung and missed. Can you explain?
We still got a couple hours.
It's not looking good.
It's over,
Joe.
Joe,
I want
They're
to
waiting for Prime Day.
It's over.
It's over.
I'm going to take the L already, but when Schefter reports this, I believe it because I know he has ties to Robert Kraft. But can you explain to our listeners what the difference between the salary cap is and what the cash budget that Elliott Wolf referenced the other day?
Great question.
Oh, well, I got to be on the Sports Hub pregame show at 5:45, so that gives us about 40 minutes, so I can only scratch the surface on the complexities of the NFL salary cap. Look, even guaranteed money in these contracts now doesn't necessarily mean you're 100% going to get it. A lot of it is guaranteed if you're on the roster by this date or if you play this many games or however. The AAV number, well, I think it matters to the agent and the player just as kind of something on the resume, is not the number that's important here. It's the amount of money fully guaranteed at signing. And that's where Witherspoon got a significant bump. I believe the number's like $59 million guaranteed at signing. So that's where the Patriots going to have to come in. And what that is overwriting some of the rookie contract, which the Patriots have not historically done. So again, we could go back and forth a whole bunch of ways and talk about exactly, salary structure versus cap space. And even for me, that gets a little, over my head. But the number that I think Gonzalez said it the other day, he was asked, Elliot Wolf has said that the contract the Patriots offered would be a record-setting contract since the Witherspoon extension. Is that still the case? Because Wolf said it was, and Gonzalez said, well, there's a number of different ways you can measure a contract. I'm paraphrasing. I forget the exact verbiage he used, but there's, annual value, guaranteed, total guaranteed, signing bonus, there's a million different things in these contracts that he has his metric he wants. They have their metric they're going off of. My guess is they're not the same metric, and that's part of what this disagreement is.
Is it fair to say, Barth, that the Patriots are playing games with the money?
Yes.
Again, he's not signed and we know what the value is. So I feel like the answer has to be yes. It's just, again, what's the Witherspoon contract? How much above that are they going to go? How much above that does he want? I remember when it came out thinking so he got an increase in the average per year of 1.9 million. Witherspoon did over the previous record. So 1.9 million off of that would be 34.9, I think. And I try not to do math on the air. I believe that's 130 or 140 over 4 years. You're probably looking at the low 60 millions guaranteed. I don't think that's unrealistic. It should be in the ballpark. Maybe it's a fly out to the warning track, but it should be in the ballpark. And again, that's just, I said, when I got asked this question 2-3 weeks ago, I said, I'm really not putting much stock into delay until Witherspoon is signed. I just thought that was such an important domino to fall. Now that it's fallen, there really shouldn't be on either side that much wiggle room, yet here we are.
Here we are. AB, are they going to play these games with Drake May? Because you and I are in lockstep. The longer this Gonzalez thing goes, I feel like it's never going to happen because you have to pay Drake May too. But much like Gonzalez, it's a premier position that the market dictates how much you make. You're not even willing to pay my man Christian Gonzalez the market value. Are you going to play these damn games with Drake May too?
They can't. They shouldn't. It's the quarterback position and nothing against Christian Gonzalez, but that's the franchise right there. So now part of the reason this is happening with Gonzalez may be because of Drake May. And Elliot Wolf mentioned the other day about the cash budget. So I actually think the May they might be kind of trying to get every penny they can out of the Gonzalez contract because they know what's coming with the Drake May contract on the other side.
All right, Alex, give us some names tonight. I'm going to watch. I have to work the game.
You sound so excited, Joe.
I know you're going on pregame shortly on the radio network. Just who are we looking for tonight?
I'll try to give you names most people know. I have a list up on 985thesportshub.com. I think the rookies, this is a big game for the rookie class as a whole. Marcus Bryant got hurt in the last preseason game. He'd been their best backup tackle. Caleb Lomu, the first-round pick. Demetrius Crown over the sixth-round pick. One of those guys might be your top backup tackle against Seattle. It's been an underwhelming summer from Lomu. Crownover has looked like a project player. He was a sixth-round pick. That's what he is. Big night for those guys to step up. Do they feel good about where they at tackle if Marcus Bryant's going to have to miss time? Or is that somewhere they're going to have to look on the veteran market come roster cuts? On the defensive side of the ball, the second-round pick, Gabe Akis. It's been a roller coaster summer for him. He looks like a player that, missed the spring and the start of training camp. He looks like a rookie that's behind. I think the power's real. The athleticism is real. The motor's real. He just takes the cheese a little too much on some of these fakes and play action and read options and things like that. And he just gets to see more football. But with Harold Landry still not back, he could be in a somewhat significant role this year. He's a player I think that is going to have a spotlight on him tonight. And fifth-round pick Karan Prunty, the corner. That's another spot where we know the depth is a concern. Mike Vrabel has said it. They should have Christian Gonzalez start the season and Carlton Davis. But who's that next guy up on the boundary? Because you are still going to play a rotation there. And both of those guys have an injury history. So it's Kindle Vildor, it's Charles Woods, it's Karan Prunty. Can he step up? Two more names I'll give you. The third running back battle, Lan Larison had a great week last week, but I'm still not ruling out Hassan Haskins.
So why should I talk about preseason game number 3, first and foremost, because it's preseason game number 3. When the coach comes out and says we're not a very deep team, and this is the night where you watch a whole bunch of guys who are not going to make the football team.
Right.
What turns out to be...
Well, that's exactly why.
Well, no, Barth,
that's exactly why you should talk about
it. What turns out to be not a very deep football team. So if they can't make this team, that's a problem. What did you make of the Vrabel comments, which are fascinating to me?
He's right. I mean, he's right. They lack depth, not across the board, but a number of positions, especially with some of these injuries. Tackle with Marcus Bryant out, interior with Ben Brown out. Their cornerback depth is a concern. Their linebacker depth is a concern. Edge is the one position where I'm kind of worried about them at the top of the depth chart. Everywhere else, I mean, you know, it's the opposite. We used to say with the Belichick teams, like you take Brady and Gronk or whoever out of it, their 1 through 10 was on par with some of the top teams in the league. It was like their 20 through 40 that made them so much better. This team's kind of the opposite of that. Their 1 through 20 is among the best in the league. They have a ton of talent at the top of the depth chart. Drake May, A.J. Brown, Ramondre Stevenson, Hunter Henry, Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, Christian Gonzalez. They got great safeties, like awesome top of the roster talent. You get to player like 25, and it starts to fall off real quick. So that's why tonight's important. Are any of these guys going to make a push, show that they belong, that they can help provide some of the depth this team needs? Or is this going to be a really busy waiver claim period for the Patriots? And something I will point out, they have found some depth players on waivers the last few years. It's unfortunate they've needed to, but they basically assembled half their tackle room off waivers in previous seasons. They found running backs there. They found some defensive tackles there. The waiver order for the start of the season is the reverse of the draft order without trades. So they were waiver claim like 3 or 4 the last few years. They're sitting at 31 now. It's going to be a lot harder to fill in some of these holes off of waivers than it has been for the last few years. Good problem to have. I'd rather they sit at 31 or 32 in the waiver claim because it means they played in the Super Bowl. But it's something to keep in mind. This year's waiver period is going to look a little different than the past couple of seasons.
Alex, we had Lawrence Guy on the other day, and we asked about Kayshon Boutte trade, and he said back in his day they would send guys to Cleveland. Remember they sent Richard Seymour to the Raiders, right? Yeah. Well, now, I mean, I guess he wanted to go to the Texans. He asked for a trade, and the Patriots, honored his wish. I don't like that. Is it because it's the new regime and they're trying to do a solid for the guy they liked?
I think that's part of it. It's not the first time we've heard that with this team. I know when they traded Joe Milton, that was kind of out there that he wanted to go to a spot where he'd have a chance to at least compete for the backup job, and obviously he's done that in Dallas. So I don't know how much they left on the table with Kayshon Boutte. I think the more you hear, not just locally, but from Houston, like Jalen Reed is a player that's probably valued more than most Patriots fans expect. It's still an underwhelming return, but I think it's underwhelming in the sense that the market wasn't there as opposed to the Patriots took less. I think they value Jalen Reed. I think the Texans value Jalen Reed. I think that people might have missed that because I think for Patriots fans, and it's fair, they couldn't develop a wide receiver for like a decade. And Kayshon Boutte came along and was a good player for them and had a number of big catches. But this is a guy that caught 33 passes last year, has never had more than 600 yards in a season in 3 seasons, is probably a rental, is going into a contract year. There were reasons that he wasn't going to be the most attractive option on the market. Plus, he wanted out of New England, and that hurts the Patriots' leverage. So I don't think they really impeded themselves. Look, Kayshon Boutte wanted to go somewhere where he was going to contribute, right? So a team where he's not going to contribute isn't going to give you a lot for him because they don't need him. I would say with Joe Milton, like the Joe Milton example is the other one that comes up. I would say with Joe Milton, I wonder if they took less to help him out more so than I would say of the Kayshon Boutte situation. Because they weren't going to be able to send him to a team that he didn't want to go to because he just wanted to play. And any team where he was going to play was going to be desperate for a receiver.
Barth, we've got 30 seconds. Just your thoughts on the kicking situation. This is a man who tweets out hang times from Patriots practice.
Really? You got your phone charged for tonight?
Yeah.
I have it right here.
Should I be worried about this? The punter's injured. Obviously, Gonzalez, the first preseason game wasn't great. Your thoughts on the kicking situation for the Pats?
You know what? It's been wild because Behringer had a slow start to camp. Then when he got it figured out, Julian Ashby got hurt. Then when he got better, Andy Gonzalez started to he had that rough week. Then Gonzalez turned the corner. Now Behringer's hurt. Like, they haven't had these three guys going at the same time the whole summer. It's kind of weird. The specific kicking situation I feel pretty good about. I'm, assuming he hits everything tonight, it definitely feels like that was a bad week and it's trending towards him getting over it. I am, Behringer was having a great summer. If you follow my hang times, Bryce Behringer was having a great summer. You hope that this doesn't kill his momentum. Matt Hawk is not as good of a player as he is. I saw they had Jamie Gillen in for a visit today, the Scottish Hammer. He was a free agent for a reason.
Scottish Hammer.
You hope it's just, hey, we're going to bring another punter in to get through this last preseason game, and, we'll let you rest up. He's back for week 1. But if he has to miss time, it's lesser than at the position. That's not what you're looking for.
You sicko. I've had enough.
No
Listen,
Scotland, no party.
I was going to ask you about a debate we had earlier on the show where I was saying I'd just rather have joint practices and do away with the preseason. But the way you defended the preseason earlier, it's clear to me you enjoy the preseason more so than joint practices, yes?
No, the joint practices are great too.
Oh.
I just want to get to the regular season. They have different purposes. At this point, I think people look at them the same.
Yeah, but Barth,
All
you
balls,
went
good
like
ball,
this
y'all.
today. We talked contract, and then we started talking about names for tonight. You went like this, and now you're back down to here.
Yeah. AB, all right, I'll bring you in. If you could only keep one, preseason or joint practices?
I would say the joint practices because I think the joint practices at this point are more about getting the guys at the top of the roster ready for the regular season. And ultimately what we all want is higher quality regular season football, which the NFL, by the way, is making harder and harder with a number of their changes the last few years. And that being said, if you got rid of the preseason games, well, now you would need those joint practices also to evaluate the depth on the roster. It would take away from the starters. So you need both. They just serve different purposes at this point.
There he is.
Give me the best players playing at the highest letle. That's ultimately what we
I love this guy. I mean, AB, he gives you hang times for the Scottish Hammer or
if
whatever
you give
the
me
hell
one
his name
more,
is.
McCarthy, if you're so anti-preseason, you know who doesn't play preseason and still puts out a good product? College football.
Well, week 0, that'll be awesome. Can't wait.
In Ireland.
Yeah,
That's right. Bill Belichick.
Alex Barth, you're the man. Thanks for agreeing with me, too.
you,
It's
Barth.
hard dealing with these two, man.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you,
me, guys.
brother. When we come back here on
Thank you.
Boston Has Entered the Chat, hey, Sox are getting some guys back healthy. We'll put our Chad Tracy hat on and discuss how to juggle it all next, right here on Boston's Entered the Chat.